Hey, Sarah, welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. How are you doing today, friend?
I'm good. It's early, but I'm a morning person, so I'm excited to do this.
Okay. Now, you said you're a morning person. When does your morning normally start? Because for me, that's not a thing.
6 a.m. I have like a pretty hardcore internal alarm clock, and regardless of what time I go to sleep at night, it's like 6 a.m. Rise and shine. Let's go.
Good on you. I don't think God made us the same way because mine is way later than that. And if I have to wake up early, I'm just crazy grumpy. So I'm happy for people like you that have that figured out. All right. So welcome to Maybe You're Like Me. Now, there's people out there that may not have bumped into you before. And so we're going to start with a huge existential question. But who is Sarah?
I'm Sarah Pribis. I'm an actor and host. I live in Brooklyn. I don't know what else you want to know about me, but I'm also a content creator. So I make a lot of content around what it looks like to be a working actor. I've been doing this thing since I was 18 years old. So almost 20 years now. And I work in commercials, TV, film, apps. I got my start in theater. Yeah. So I've been sort of all over the place, but make my living full time as a creative person, which is really cool.
That's fantastic. So actually, I bumped into you on TikTok and then Instagram, and you just make such cool content about what it means to be an actor. You said you got started when you were 18. What got you going in acting in the first place?
Well, I've been doing acting probably since I was a kid. Not professionally. I did not have those parents that were like lugging me to auditions. Like, they were like the opposite. They were like, get 2 jobs, work in retail as like serve, at the like local spot. But I always did community theater. I did my first like play. I guess I was in 6th grade. They were putting it on at like my middle school, and I was like, oh, I need to do that. That seems fun. And I'm a Leo. So like, I'm a performer to my core, you know what I mean? So like, I was like, yes, put me in the spotlight. And so after I got my first taste, sort of like when I was in 6th grade, I just like kept doing every single production that my school put on, did like summer camp theater stuff. Like I said, community theater. And then I think like the thing that made me realize that I wanted to do this like more than a hobby was when I was a junior in high school. My high school got the rights to do Les Mis when it was going off Broadway for the first time. And there were scouts in our audience when we put on the musical, and they were looking for the future cast of Les Mis. They were basically casting this like epic finale performance where they were bringing back the original cast. They were having the current cast, and then they were doing the future cast, which was like high school kids. And I ended up getting cast in that. And I was like, I guess maybe I could do this, because I was a very academically oriented kid too. Like I got straight A's. I was valedictorian in my high school. And so it was I really weighed, I'm like, do I go to school for something that I'm probably not going to get any money for? Or do I like take a full academic ride to like these other schools? And ultimately I got into NYU. And I was like, how do you say no to Tisch? And so I went to Tisch, I studied acting, and then, have been in the city ever since.
That's nothing to shake a stick at. That's awesome. Getting into NYU, that is a real deal program. So good on you. All right. So, the podcast is called Maybe You're Like Me. And so the general theme is this, like we see people online. So like I've seen everything that not everything, but a lot of the stuff that you put on TikTok. I haven't stalked you that closely. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but maybe I'll watch the rest of them later. But
I can't believe like people out there don't even know who I am. Like, how dare you? No, I'm kidding. Yes. Totally.
But yeah, so I've seen your TikToks, I've seen your Instagram, and I see the stuff you're putting out in the world. So like you'll see a celebrity or these people that are they're projecting the best version of themselves, their highlight reel. And so the whole purpose of the podcast is to maybe get a little bit past that and see beyond the filtered version of you. But if we're going to get past the filtered version, we got to start with the filtered version. So if somebody's just following you on Instagram or on TikTok, what is the Sarah Pribis they're going to see? I'm going to get it right.
As you're good. Really, I won't hold it against you. I actually really pride myself in being pretty transparent. Obviously you're still curating a feed, right? So like how much transparency can really go into it when you are still choosing what type of content to put out there. But that being said, so I do talk about a lot of things I think that a lot of people would maybe feel like ashamed of, or like, you're like, wow, that's the story you're choosing to share. So if you want embarrassing actor stories about mistakes, I don't even want to say mistakes, but I'm sober now. So that's a big part of my platform. So if you're looking at my highlight reel, you'll see that I do talk about sobriety. I talk about pre-sobriety, and like, stuff that, the hard stuff. So, I would say you're probably getting a lot of like working actor stories from, embarrassing jobs that I've taken, but like, I don't really see them that what people might consider embarrassing jobs, but like really to me is just like, working actor life. And then like the unglamour, I think my main platform is all about sort of, I think people see actors as like this 1%. So you're either, you're a Hollywood A-lister or you're a starving artist. Like there's no in between. Mm-hmm. And in reality, like 99% of us are the in between. And like, again, like I want to show people what that looks like, because it's not this like glamorous life. I mean, I love my life. I feel very blessed to be able to like do creative stuff full time. It's incredible. And for a long time, I also just didn't think that I'd be able to, I didn't think it was like sustainable. I did work in hospitality, all the way up until like just a couple of years ago. And so it's really showing like sort of like the truth of what it can look like to build a career in the entertainment industry sustainably. How long it might take you, how much work goes into it, and how much like of it really is not so glamorous. And so that's sort of what my platform is. And then again, I talk a lot about, mental health. I do a lot of stuff on like burnout, sobriety, aging in the entertainment industry as a woman. So anything that sort of, accompanies what it looks like to be a working actor, even like dressing the part and fashion. So you'll see all the stuff that sort of, goes around, being like a working actor.
That's awesome. So so that's actually what I've seen of you. So you nailed it on the head. That's what you're putting out into the world. And it's cool to know that the person behind the camera is actually the person that is the person that you're seeing too. So like, it's fun. Like for me, this has always been fun because I'll get to meet people like you and I'm like, what are they really like? And so This is fun getting to talk to you like this right now. So the way we do things here on the podcast is in a couple of rounds, and this first round, I call it the first date round because when you go on a first date, like you want to ask questions where you get to know a person, but also like you don't want to ask about like childhood trauma or anything like that. So these are kind of icebreakery questions, nothing too serious. You ready to go for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So I'm going to break this down into a couple of, I'm going to make this a multi-part first question, but what is your pump up jam? And we're going to give it to you in a few areas. Okay. So number one, what is your pump up jam when you're going in for an audition? You're an actress. And so what is your pump up jam to get yourself ready to shoot a scene?
So I know that you're going to ask me this question. And again, I really just like pride myself on transparency and honesty. I'm not really like a big music. I mean, I don't want to say I don't listen to music, but like, I don't have like music anthems. Like, I think there was a period in my life where I listened to a lot more music, but like, I'll go through phases where, like Taylor Swift's Midnights came out and I was like, literally, I will listen to an album to death. Like if I find your music and I am a fan, like the addict in me comes out and I will truly like, you're lucky because I will give you all 1 million plays on Spotify until like I can no longer listen to something. And I'll also, so that's like one way that I listen. And then also, I do like to like walk around New York City every once in a while. It's like sort of like a meditative experience for me. And sometimes I will listen to music in order to like, I guess, pump up in a way, but I can't, I can tell you a couple songs that like, I would have to Google music if I wanted to answer this question. And like, I don't feel like that's an honest answer.
I feel like if you Google music, you're going to get just random Wikipedia articles about what music is. So what is your most recent like album obsession then? Let's just go from that angle.
I would say Taylor Swift for sure. Midnights. Yeah. Okay.
You're a Swiftie. Are you, did you get Eras tickets?
I did not. I'm also not, I don't know if I consider myself a Swiftie. I like only got into Midnights. Something like maybe TikTok inspired me to listen. And then I was like, this album is absolutely incredible. Yeah, I go through phases with music. So it was just funny because I literally got my start in music. Like I am a singer. I played three instruments. So like I love me and I've gone through and I'm a musical theater girly. So like but I in reality, like music, I don't listen to it all that much until I get into a cycle where I'm listening to music, and I'm not in one of those cycles right now.
All right. So, all right, I'm just going to keep asking random music questions now. What is your like go-to musical?
My go-to, I used to like, I mean, probably Wicked or Rent.
Okay. Are you excited about Ariana Grande Wicked coming out?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, why not?
You can't go wrong with more Wicked. It's good times. You can defy some gravity. It's a good time. All right, so let's get you out of music space. Apparently, music isn't your go-to place. But all right, so if you could go back in time and you could take one movie role, so you're an actress and you're acting. If you could go back in time and like if there's one role that you're like, that's me. I could do that. I would crush it. What's that movie role for you?
So again, I don't know if it's like the way I grew up, but I did not like watch a lot of films. I didn't watch a lot of TV. I've done a lot of catch up in my recent years, but like it used to be a point for me, excuse me, of shame that like people would ask me questions like this, like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite movie? And I'm like, I don't have favorites in these categories. Like, I'm just not that type of person. Like, I am inspired by art. I like when I'm watching stuff, do watch a lot of television, but like, I can't be like, oh my gosh, like, I Love Lucy changed my life. And if I would go like, no, like that's not me. And so I want to be honest with you, because if there's anybody that's listening or watching this and they're like, oh my God, thank you. I also don't walk around having like a list of favorites at the ready. Like that's also me. Like you're not alone. I'm there with you. Now I can name a couple of roles that like, of course, like parts that I think would have been really fun. Like Isla Fisher in Wedding Crashers. Such a silly, fun, amazing role. Would have loved to have like done that along the same like comedy lines. Like, gosh, probably either role in Bridesmaids, either like Rose Byrne or Kristen Wiig. Like either one would have been so fun. On TV, like right now, like I keep talking about how because everyone's watching Succession. Like I would have loved to play Shiv or Willa. I think Willa's a really fun character. So yeah, I watch stuff and then I'm like, oh, I could have done that, or like, oh, that would have been a really fun thing to explore. But I don't have like something if I'm like looking back and I'm like, that role should have been mine, or I would have loved to have given my version. Like I'll watch stuff and I'll be like, oh, I probably could have gotten cast as that, and like I wonder how I would have done it. So that's sort of my take on that.
That's fun. All right. So if it makes you feel less alone, my wife is the exact same way. We even now, like I'll ask her like, babe, what's your favorite anything? And if I ask what her favorite is, I know in her brain, she's immediately cut me off because she's not a favorite picker. And I want people to be favorite pickers. So.
You're fine. It's like, I think for a long time, I was like, what's wrong with me? I don't have favorites. Like, am I not smart? Am I not informed of the world? And like, I don't think any of that's true. So again, I think it's nice to be able to say, hey, listen, this is just like not the way my brain works. And so also if you're like that, like, it's okay. Like we're good.
Now, this may be a weird about me, but I always like, I try to have those things like locked and loaded just in case.
Sure.
Like if I'm not a huge fan of small talk, but if I'm in a small talk situation, like I want to be like ready to rock and roll. And so I'm like, favorite movie, Forrest Gump. Just you got to have that ready to go. So
that makes sense. I get it. And like the people pleaser in me, the person who like doesn't want to feel uncomfortable in like social settings, right? Like it's like, oh, what a great idea. I should make a list when I get off this podcast recording and just assemble a list of like favorites to have for this. But again, for me, I feel like it would just feel inauthentic to like, I'd be picking stuff to like either sound good or like to answer. Yeah, it just wouldn't be real.
All right. So here's how my wife and I have figured this out. If I ask her, like, if I want to ask her what her favorite of something is, instead of asking, hey, what's your favorite of whatever, it is what are a few of things that you like right now, or a few things that you enjoy.
I like that.
And like, apparently that takes the pressure off of the whole question. So
it does. It's such a slight like tweak, but I would say like, again, it gives me the ability to be like, okay, cool. You know, these are a couple things that I've watched that I thought might be fun to play, or here's what I'm watching right now that I'm like, oh yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, and of course in our brains, we could just like reorganize that question ourselves. But I guess like when favorite, to me, favorite means, you know, that carries weight. That is, I don't want that pressure.
I'm sorry that I put you in this predicament. We can start over if we want to. All right. So what are some jams that you might enjoy every now and again when you're walking down the streets of New York? Never mind.
Hold on. Where's my, we're going to look at what's been, I haven't been listening.
Oh, okay, I'm just kidding. We don't have to go back into it. But.
Okay. I'm like, I love Sia. Okay. Apparently I love Sia.
Okay.
Who else do I love? Oh my God. There's a lot of Sia on here right now. Again, Taylor Swift, Jess Glynn.
Okay.
Jonas Blue. Yeah, there you go. There's some stuff. Demi Lovato's on here. I'm a pop girl. Like I love pop music. I love music I can sing to, generally speaking. So I love female vocalists. And I also like dancey pop music.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm just going to make this question up off the top of my head. Of those people or of like female artists that you love and listen to, if you could be a background singer for one and or a couple of them, not favorites, just for fun, who would you be a backup singer for?
Do these people have backup singers?
I don't know. It sounds fun. Yeah, everybody's got backup singers.
I guess. Have you seen the guy on TikTok that does the background singers videos? He's really funny. I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he literally is everyone's like, he'll take old songs and he'll just, there's a girl he does it with and he'll be their backup singer. And I think they're just brilliant because they're so simple, but it's really fun. Probably any of those girls that I just named. I even think like, it would be fun to be like, I don't even know if Shania Twain, like Silver, like I'd love to go back to like people who I admired when I was like, you know, singing when I was growing up and stuff. Like,
absolutely.
I love myself some Shania, like,
let's go, girls.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like that would be really fun to be a backup singer for.
Okay, deal. All right. I feel like we've like completely broached. I mean, we figured this out. We've got to figure it out now. It's Sia and Shania Twain for you. And those are your favorites. So now you've got those locked and loaded for.
No.
All right. So that was the first date round. And if that was a first date for you and I would have to quickly figure out.
You would have been like, we're not going on a second date. This girl can't even pick her favorites of anything. She's being so weird.
Like all I want to know. So like with my wife, like the same thing with the favorites thing is like, I just want to know that I'm your favorite. So that's, if you got to pick one 100%. Favorite, just pick me. That's all I need to know. And for the most part, I think most days I fall into that category. And then every now and again, it's her best friends. But yeah, for the most part, I'm my wife's favorite person. So yeah, just find a favorite and pick that. It's fine. All right. So the next round is called the slow round. And so if you were an onion and we were talking Shrek, this would be a few layers down. You are an actress and you're a working actress and you are super transparent about the acting process and the audition process. But you are in an industry with a ton of rejection. And so I just wonder, like, how have you thickened your skin on that? How have how do you take rejection and not let it affect you to the point where you just stop all the time?
Well, I definitely think if anybody wants to get better at rejection, just become an actor. Like that's it. Because you have to, or you will not survive this industry. Like that is literally it. Like you will leave the industry, or your mental health will suffer and you'll go crazy. I mean, I know it's not an answer that a lot of people like to hear, but like, it's just time. It's just experience. Because, you know, I am somebody, I mean, listen, I've done work on myself too, like #therapy, yay, sobriety, all that stuff. Right. And that certainly has helped. I think like, you know, help me not tie my worth to, you know, social media views or other people's opinions of me or bookings, right? Like so I definitely think there's been personal growth and work that's taken place, but like really, really, and certain jobs I think that I've had and experiences that have thickened my skin more quickly. Like I've been forced to like learn from that. And I would say like one right off the top of my head is HQ Trivia, like that had a live chat. And like people could be very cruel in the comments and like,
oh, no.
you know, I used to like torture like I would finish games. I wouldn't see it while I was hosting, the comments moved too fast. But I would go home and like I would literally watch YouTube recordings back of it that like people would post, and I would see the chat, and like it was devastating. Like I did take it personally. I would get DMs from people that were like nasty. I even made a mean tweets sort of video that was one of the ways I coped at the time. I was like taking them and I was making them into comedy. Because I would like read the comments aloud because they were so brutal. Like, people saying that they wanted to kill me, people saying that like my voice was like the most grating thing that you've ever heard, like all kinds of stuff, right? That like my teeth like were so big they shouldn't fit in my mouth, like everything you can imagine. And so like definitely at first it was really hard. I think one of the other things that's really really helpful is like looking at the people they're coming from. So I remember once I was like looking at who was commenting some of this stuff. These were like little boys who were like 9 years old. And it's like, okay. And that definitely helped. They're like, my grandma hates you. And I'm like, who the heck is writing that their grandma hates me? What a weird thing to say. And it's like, oh, a 9-year-old boy is writing that. Okay, that makes sense. So like, I think through that experience, I definitely, it took me some time. And I don't even think while I was having that experience, I learned like I could not separate it. Like I was like, oh, these people hate me. I'm a terrible host and they all hate me. But after the fact, it sunk in sort of, and I learned from that. And then I think like just being on social media too, like you gotta have thick skin. I put out content and people will be like, you're a terrible actor. Of course you're not successful. You're never gonna succeed. You're the you know, XYZ are the reasons, like, you know, and these days I don't take any of that stuff personally. Like the growth is amazing. And then like, as an actor, I would say, right, like I book like 1% of the time. So I'm like doing, 20 auditions and maybe I'll book one. So it's like, how do you not think, oh, I am terrible. Like I'm not booking anything. And I think it's just like, I've learned the industry, like it's just the way it is. You get feedback from people you actually trust, like an acting coach or your agent, and you watch like, I can be honest with myself and with those people and the other people's opinion, like the rest of it doesn't really matter. And it is a numbers game. So I think like, for me, it's just like, I've become more confident in my own abilities, with just as I've grown as a person, as an actor. I can watch old tapes back and be like, oh, wow, that was definitely, I've come a long way. We'll just say that. And like, that's great. Like it's all about, you can only compare yourself to yourself. And so, I think, and then just the more you're in, like, I've been in this industry now for years. I've gotten so many rejections. Like it really is it is a numbers game at the end of the day. Like the more that I do, the more that I book, and also the more that I don't book. So it just bothers me less because I know that I can have those honest conversations with the people that I can trust and say, hey, like, is the quality of work I'm turning in, standard, like up to par, like, and they can say, hey, maybe I think you should like coach a little more on the scene, or like, yeah, it's just that you're not the right fit for this particular job, but like keep crushing it. And then I can just like relax and move on with my day.
Yeah, I like the fact that you've got some trusted voices in your life that you could read all the comments and all the HQ comments and all the comments on your videos and stuff and take that as a thing. But I like it that you found some people, you found a community of people that can push you forward instead of push you down. And it's cool that you've cultivated that in yourself and then in your community. And also the fact that you've even, you go back and you looking back at your old reels or whatever, just to, not just to put yourself down, but to make yourself better. And so, how, like, you've been acting for, I'm guessing close to 20-ish years now, professionally. And so, like, looking back at 18, 19, 20-year-old you to where you are now, do you see the change in yourself from back then to now?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I can even see it from a year ago. Like one of the series that I sort of do on social is my audition versus the final spot. So whether or not I book it, I'll put in my audition and then the person who booked it, whether that's me or someone else. And when I'm looking for those tapes, because obviously, like, I have to go back for them because a lot of times it takes time for these projects to come out, whether it's film, TV, commercials come out a little bit faster. But so I'll go back looking for stuff to see what's come out. And I'll watch those tapes and I'll be like, yeah, I might not have booked me either based on that tape. But like, again, I'm not like mean to myself about it. I actually try to flip it and I'm just like, wow, that's really cool that I feel like I would have done such a better job now. And so, yeah, I mean, like, again, I can literally see the growth from a year ago. So it's funny. I should actually post this to my TikTok. I remember like the first time I ever self-taped because, for a long time was in-person auditions and self-tapes had been around, but like they were rare, but I self-taped for like some job, I don't know, some film or short film or something. And like I had to upload the link to YouTube. It's like an unlisted link. And so it's still there. Like it's not public, but my phone is flipped vertically like a TikTok, which is like a big no-no when you're submitting a tape. I'm literally sitting on my bed to do the scene. Like I'm not even against like a white wall. Like I'm not, and it's a mess. I didn't even like clean my room for it, which is hilarious. And, like the lighting is terrible. It's like I didn't have the proper equipment. So it's like I look back at all that and it's just funny. It's so funny. It's like, wow. I mean, but I think it's really helpful because people feel so overwhelmed and like they need to be perfect when they're starting out. And it's great. Arm yourself with knowledge. There's plenty of it out there these days. But like show yourself some grace. Like I've been doing this for 20 years and I still go back to tapes from a year ago and I'm like, ooh, okay. Maybe not the choice I would make now. But like we keep getting better and that's like, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I think in any industry, if you're listening and you work at a gas station or you are a A-list Hollywood actress, you got to give yourself a little grace looking back at your past self. So
yeah.
Hindsight's 2020, and that's super helpful. All right. So another thing is this. Again, you talked about it earlier, but you're super honest about your sobriety. And how did that start for you? Like, what was the thing that made you make that decision? And then how has it changed your life into the right now even?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm going to try to give you the short version. I think it's quite common for people to feel that their drinking is normal because like it's just normalized, glorified behavior, right? Like you go to college, I was an 18-year-old kid moving to New York City, going to art school, working in hospitality to put myself through school. So I'm working in the restaurant industry where there is lots of alcohol, surrounded by kids who are partying in New York City because we're kids. Like it was normal. It is normal behavior, like to an extent, right? Sure. And so like, I think for a very long time, I was like, I'm surrounded by other people who are doing exactly the same thing as me. So like, how could that be problematic? Also, I used externals to very easily justify that like what I was doing wasn't problematic because, I wasn't losing. I was holding several jobs. Like I was turning in great grades. Like I was acting, like I was doing all the things, like had relationships. Yeah. So like, it's like, it didn't matter that, I think it started as fun. And then it became fun with problems, and then it became problems. And so when the problems started to outweigh the fun, like that's, and I let that go on for a while before I was like, I even like was like, oh, could it be my drinking? Like, again, I was like, oh, maybe I'm just a depressed and anxious person, like anything but the drinking, anything but the alcohol. And so I'm trying to think of like, there's definitely an incident there were many incidents. Like there were many times that like a normal person would have been like, oh yeah, no, it's the alcohol. Like that's an issue. But like, I was like, oh, that's silly. Everybody, does something like that. Right. We can brush off so many things. Yeah. But I would say that, first of all, my dad got sober. So like he got sober with me as an adult. So he got sober like 2 years before I got sober. So seeing him get sober and still I was like, oh, I'm not because like my dad was a problem drink. Like it was very easy to be like, no, I had an alcoholic father. Yeah. So that was an easy way for me to like, be like, well, I'm not like him. So like, I can't have a problem, but it also made it was a really, really beautiful thing because when I did finally decide to get sober, he was the first person I called. Because I knew, like, I asked him, like, it was a text message that I sent when I was wasted that I definitely wouldn't have sent sober. And I was like, are you happy now? And he was like, I am. And he knew something was wrong. And that ultimately I ended up going, back and like sort of rehabbing at my dad's house, which again, like what a beautiful thing to be able to do. But I'll say that inciting incident was I turned 30 and it was like, oh, this isn't cute anymore. Like 30 was there was something about it in my head where I was just like, I shouldn't feel this way at 30. And like what was maybe okay and acceptable in my 20s, like there's something about hitting 30 that I was like, I don't want to be that 30 something, 40 something, 50 something that's like still going to party, still like waking up feeling shameful. Like I don't want to live my life that way. And I think at the end of the day, right, if you're like, if someone's listening to this and they're like, oh, I don't have an issue, but like, are you happy? Like, is there a chance that you could be happier without alcohol in your life? Like, okay, that's all that matters. You don't necessarily need to qualify yourself as an alcoholic or whatever. Like you could I personally do. For me, that identification has been really helpful to know like, oh no, I actually just don't process alcohol like a normal person. Like my body has an abnormal reaction to it. Like once I start, I can't stop. Not all the time, but it's like Russian roulette. I could never predict when it was just going to be one drink or if it was going to be like an insane night. And like, that was like not a risk I was willing to take anymore. And so for me, it became an all or nothing thing. Like I couldn't predict, like, if I picked up that first drink, it could just be one drink, but it could also be like the craziest night I've ever seen. So I hit 30 and that's sort of like, I was miserable. I felt like a shell of myself. I just felt like I had more potential. And like, I wanted more out of my life. And that like drinking was really holding me back from getting to that like place of sort of like fulfillment and trying to reach my potential. I went back to my dad's and took some time there, like a couple weeks, and got sober. And then, I've had I sort of like felt the need after a point of time to do more research, as they say. Like, I was like, oh, maybe like once I had enough time under my belt, I was like, maybe I don't have a problem with alcohol. Maybe I was like young, maybe I just didn't understand balance. Maybe I didn't understand moderation. And so I did more research and I was like, no, you definitely have a problem. So like I've had to do, I've had several like relapses because of like, I've been like, oh, well, maybe, again, I get like to a certain place in my career again. And then I'm like, okay, like, I think I've got this under control. And I'm like, no, you don't got it. That's why I'm like, now it's so helpful to be like, no, you're just an alcoholic. Like, it's actually like, a cancer patient needs their chemo. Like I need sobriety. Like it's just a fact. Like, so I'm always happy to share my journey because I do think like the media, society for a long time, it's getting better now, but like taught us that like alcoholics looked a certain way. They were of a certain age or demographic or whatever. Yeah. And I think it's like very helpful to hear stories from people who, you're like, oh, I would hang out with her at a bar, right? Like she looks like she would be fun. Like she doesn't seem like she ever. And like the thing is, when I did get sober, a lot of my friends were like, you didn't have a problem. I was very good at hiding how miserable I was because I was so good at performing, you know? So like I was very good at masking. But I was so miserable and my life is so much better now. Like for me, it was life changing. I really do attribute sobriety to like really helping me. There's no way I'd be where I'm at in my career right now if I wasn't sober. Absolutely no way. I'd still be working in restaurants. I'd still be in that vicious cycle of like going out after work, waking up late, doing it all over again. You know, I wouldn't have the extra. The thing is, like when you stop drinking, you don't realize how much energy it takes up, right? Like it's not just the time that you're drinking. It's the time spent recovering the next day because you have like lower energy. It's time you actually spent planning to go drink or thinking about the drink. Like, or you're like rewarded. Like, you're like, oh, can't wait to go home and have wine. How am I going to go get the wine? Like there's so much energy dedicated to it. And when you give that up, there's so much time cleared for other stuff. So much so that people are like, what do you do when you're not like, when people first get sober, they're like, I don't know what to do with all the free time. And like, I was able to take that free time and put it towards stuff that's like important to me, whether that's my relationships, whether that's my career, whether that, you know, whatever that is. And also just like work on like cultivating like a spiritual practice, which like really helps my career, like helps me with those rejection moments, helps me with like feel good about myself. So it's like, I have done a lot of work to like, so because when you take away the drinking, sorry, this is so long, but like when you take away the drinking, like I drank because, to feel better. Like it was like medicine for me. Like it was to feel good in social situations. It was, you know, as a reward system because I work really hard. It was because things were going badly and it would make me feel better when I was like super stressed. And so you have to find different ways to cope with those things. Like how do I behave in social situations with alcohol when I'm constantly analyzing how I'm going to like be with people? Or like, you know, how do I relax at the end of a hard day if I can't have a glass of wine? So you have to learn new tools. And those same tools that I had to learn, like have just like transformed the way that I deal with my, you know, career and things there.
Yeah. While you've been talking, I just saw the other night a video of Chris Pratt talking about his Parks and Rec days when he was much bigger. And he was talking about how alcoholism and overeating and that stuff, like there's a whole bunch of psychology that I don't think I understand all of it either. But he was talking about how when he was bigger before he lost all the weight to be in the Marvel movies, that like he looked forward to like eating, like he would like down 5 hamburgers at a time and but then just feel like crap for the rest of the day. And he's like, now when I eat, the my eating time is boring, but the fullness of the rest of my day, I feel fantastic because like he just chose a different priority. So his priority isn't that 15 minutes of eating, but instead it's the rest of his day. And so it seems like when you hit 30, like you're like, this is my priority. My priority is like the direction that I want to head in my life. And because of that, it's made the other 99% of your day way better because you've picked the ultimate over the temporary. And so it's cool. I like seeing, it's fun getting to hear stories like that of people that have made decisions that have really changed their life. And there's probably people out there, even people listening right now, that they're in the middle of trying to figure that out for themselves. And I hope that if you're listening to this, that's something that can help you too, to move forward in your journey and to pick the priority that's the ultimate for yourself.
For sure. And it's not easy. So like if you are going through something like that right now, like, you know, it takes time to change habits and, but it's worth it, you know, just keep going. And, you know, if you mess up, like you don't lose everything you started. I always you know, people are like, oh, relapse, but it's like, no, I built on the information and the experience that I had before. It's not starting over. It's just, you learn something new and then you get to build on that experience. So, you know, again, it's all about showing yourself like grace and compassion and, just wanting more for yourself.
Yeah, that I think is funny too. Like, so this is a 30,000 foot view of your life. It's fun how your life is kind of built upon itself. So like dealing with all the rejection from the job side of things and from external sources, it also informs how you give yourself grace in your own personal life. So if those voices that are from outside your life aren't the truth on who you are, then the alcoholic side of you isn't the truth on who you are either. So it's fun that you've picked those priorities and that you're not going to listen to those external voices and you're not going to listen to the negative ones that would push you in the direction you're not trying to go to. So that's cool. All right. So there's one question that we like to ask everybody on the podcast, and it's this. It's a simple one. It could be as simple as you're learning how to tie your shoes different, or you're learning astrophysics. But what's something you're learning right now?
I'm learning how to find work-life balance.
How's that going?
I'm showing myself grace. It's a work in progress. Like sometimes it's going better than others. Some weeks it's great and I'm able to really prioritize like living. I think it's very tricky when you work in an industry that is also your passion, because like there's just so much overlap that it's like, I'd be happy shooting TikToks till 12 o'clock at night. Like, I don't really care because I like it so much. But it's like, you have to find time to like live and not just, so I think it's just been a process to, just figure out, like set boundaries for myself and figure out how to like really set aside time for self-care, and like what that can look like and the different forms that it can take. I think it's going well. I would say it's going really well. It just like varies. Ask me on a different week, and I might be like, I'm sucking at this right now. Like, yeah.
Well, good job. And again, like a good job giving yourself some grace in the middle. But that is a lesson that I genuinely think everyone is trying to figure out. I haven't figured it out yet. I am so bad at it, but good job even trying to try. So, all right. So, this is the last round, and this is probably my favorite round. This is a round that you got your paper there and your marker, that I try to see maybe if you and I are a little bit alike. And so
okay.
I'm going to ask you 5 this or that style questions, and we'll do them one at a time, and we'll see if maybe you and I are alike. Ready to do this?
Okay. Let's do it.
Let's see if maybe you're like me. All right. As modes of transportation, would you rather ride on the subway or an Uber? Now, I am not a New Yorker, and this will show in my answer. All right, here we go. You got yours down? Here we go.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. I went subway. You went subway. Look at us. I thought you would go Uber for sure. You're a big Subway fan?
Really? Oh, I'd rather Subway ever. I take Ubers if I have to. I hate cars in general. Like, I love New York City's transportation. Like, I'm not a car girl. I never liked driving. I get motion sick. I think the subway system is 10 out of 10.
Now, again, I'm not a New Yorker. I've been a handful of times, and for me, it's fun trying to figure out a new system and figure it all out. And if you're a people watcher, it is A+.
Oh, it's amazing. Also, like when you're driving somewhere, you can't I'm a multitask queen. So I love like also being on the subway and being able to like edit something on my phone or like read my Kindle or, you know what I mean? So it's like, I can't do that when I'm driving. I think it's great.
Oh, you can. It's just very dangerous. So
you should not be doing that. If you're doing that, stop it. Stop it.
Whoa. All right. This is a quick PSA from Sarah Pribis. The more you know.
Yeah.
This is for the Automotive Ad Council. Don't do that. Heart always, Sarah and Mike. All right. Next one. Would you rather win the lottery or land your dream job? So.
Oh, I don't like this one.
And no, you cannot write both. All right. Win the lottery or land your dream job.
How much is the lottery though? That's a fair question.
All right. Fair question.
Are you set for life?
Yeah. Set for life. Let's say it's $1 billion. So You're never going to run out of that.
Okay.
Lottery or dream job. You got yours down?
Yeah. Yep.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I put lottery. You put lottery. Look at us. We're so alike, you and me. All right. So say you win your $1 billion lottery. What's the first thing you're doing?
I'm traveling.
Yeah. Ooh, where are you going to? That's the real deal.
Bali's been on my list for a minute. I want to go to Bali. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Bali, or maybe like Australia. I haven't been there, like Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa is also on my list.
All right. This is just a quick actor challenge. Can you do an Australian accent?
Nope. I need to practice. I'm not like, there are some people who are very gifted with being able to just like do accents like that. There's a couple that I can do very like off the cuff, but I like Australia. I would need to watch some Love Island Australia and brush up. And I'm not going to embarrass myself on here, but I could do it. I just need time to study.
I believe in you. Just for fun, what are your go-to accents that you can just pull out of a hat?
I could do like Midwestern, Southern,
Okay.
British, depending on the day. Again, like that one I might need like an hour to like get into it a little bit. Like, so, but some people like are just so gifted. They can hear, it's like impressions too, right? You can hear something and you can just sort of repeat it. I'm that way with like music. Like I can hear, I can sight read and I can hear things pretty quickly, which you would think would translate to accents, but to my dismay and sadness, it doesn't, not for me.
Yeah. As far as British accents go, mine's not great at all. But if my wife and I are alone, like on a road trip for long enough, after about an hour and a half of being in the car, everything's just like, hello, pip pop cheerio. And I don't know why. It's not good. All you British listeners out there, I'm sorry. But yeah, it gets bad. So moving on, so before I get myself canceled. All right. On French fries, would you rather ketchup or ranch?
Frankly, well, I'll wait till you can.
All right, Here we go. You ready to go?
Yeah.
I got ketchup. You put ranch. Oh, look. Oh, we were so close. What was your disclaimer you were going to tell me?
I'm a mayo girl on French fries. Yeah. I'm not a big ketchup fan, in general. And so I would go, I guess, ranch over it. But like I am, if I order fries or something comes with fries, I will always ask for a side of mayo.
And it's just plain mayo on French fries?
Or like if they have a flavored mayo, like a Chipotle mayo or something, I'll get that. But yeah, no, I'm a mayo girl. Yeah.
So there's several things in life that like I don't want to be within 10 feet of, and mayonnaise is one of them. And so
I love it.
So if we ever get dinner together some way, somehow, I want to sit on the opposite side of the table from you, just so not to be near it. So
it's very French. The French have mayo with their fries. So, and considering that French fries, maybe camera
okay.
I think that is the superior. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
My boyfriend is a ketchup guy, but he knows. I mean, we've been dating for 10 years. So like he knows, like he would have hands down been like, yep, mayo, like always. Can I get a side of mayo? Yes. The other
is
thing
he a
that
mayo
I love
guy too?
No, he's ketchup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's for sure ketchup. But the other thing that I, without fail, will always ask for a side of, if I'm at brunch, is hollandaise sauce. Love hollandaise sauce. Yes.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with a good hollandaise. The only problem, have you ever made hollandaise sauce?
I have not.
Oh man, it's no joke. It's a bunch of whipping and
I don't need that.
It's a tough sell, but at the end it's worth it. So that is a new goal for you and a new video series for you, Cooking with Sarah. And I want you to make a hollandaise. And so I believe in you. We can do this.
But I've never made hollandaise. Yeah.
What is your go-to meal when you're cooking?
I mean, I probably get pretty sick of everything, but like I'll just do. I'll say my current favorite. I love doing salmon in the air fryer. Yeah, I would say my salmon's really, really good. And if you do it with the skin in the air fryer, it's like crispy skin, tender salmon. One of the two secret
and then
spices.
Just covered in mayo.
No. But I do like a dry. Not a dry rub. I do put oil on it, but I do my two secret spices. There's a citrus garlic spice from Trader Joe's that is excellent, and then I do smoked paprika. I love smoked paprika, not regular paprika. Smoked paprika.
It's got to be smoked. Good to know.
Yeah.
Again, so check out Sarah's TikTok. She will be doing a cooking series soon, and we're all here for it. All right, so this is a weird one. I found it on the internet, so I don't take credit for this one. But would you rather look at pictures or be in the presence of babies dressed as animals or animals dressed as humans? I don't know why this is a question, but it's the babies dressed as animals or animals dressed as humans. All right, I'm ready. I put babies dressed as animals. You put animals dressed as humans. We were doing so good. We're 50-50 right now. What animal do you want to see dressed as a human?
I don't really care. It sounds amazing. I need a whole Instagram account dedicated to this. I love cute baby videos too, but I will say hands down, my boyfriend and we are sending animal videos back and forth more than we are sending baby videos back and forth.
Good to know. Even better is baby animals. That's where it gets real cute. So you can't go wrong with that.
So cute.
There's this one video of this little puppy on its back and it like yawns and it's like it's just eye bleach. Like if you're having a bad day, a little baby dog yawning. Heaven. All right, This is the last one. Okay. Would you rather eat at a food truck or a restaurant? That is a very wide category, but I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
All right, I chose my worst handwriting for this one. Hopefully that's okay. Here, I want restaurant. You want restaurant. Look at us back together again. I missed you for a second there. Are you a sit down restaurant kind of gal, or what's your go-to?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love a food truck. Do food trucks all the time. But in general, like I do want to sit and eat. So like, even if I'm going to a food truck, like I'm hoping that there's like a bench nearby. So if I had to choose, I'll go to a restaurant just so I can like sit and eat, which is ironic actually, now that I'm saying this, because I'm the type of person who will like make my meals chaotically and stand and eat them like hunched over the like sink or the counter. So clearly I like to stand and eat. I guess that's why when I'm like going to seek out a place to dine, I would like to sit down.
Yeah, you're looking for a little change. I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Sarah, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for being here on the podcast. This is, it's fun because genuinely, like, I do see people like you on Instagram and on TikTok, and I'm like, they can't be real, but you're real and you're awesome. And maybe there's people today.
I'm an AI. So actually you've been doing this entire thing. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Elon Musk, is that you behind the curtain there? All right. So if people like me or like people who haven't heard of you yet, where is a great place for people to follow along if they want to see your acting journey or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter if you're still using that, and Facebook if you still use that. But everything's the same. Sarah Pribis. I'm sure you'll link that information on how to spell it. You all know how to say it now, so that's good. But yeah, I'm sure you'll link how to spell it. But yeah, just at Sarah Pribis.
There you go. And again, Sarah, thank you so much for being here. And for all of you listening, thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next week here on Maybe You're Like Me.